Welcome back for a new top 10 cards list for Magic the Gathering. This time we are checking out, at least from my perspective, 10 of the best uncommons from the set Original Zendikar from 2009. With that said, two honorable mentions that didn't quite make the top 10. First of which, a great card if you like playing with white. Arrow. Yep. A great instant trap. Costs 5 to use. If 4 or more creatures are attacking you, you may pay 2 rather than the regular mana cost. This card deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target attacking creatures. So say your opponent has just like multiple 1/1s, you can basically wipe them all out. That is the great thing about this card. It is good using against just small multi-attackers. It's a good way to spread across the damage. Plus the ability to be able to end up bringing out for 3 less mana is also really nice. Other one that didn't quite make the cut, another white. Brave the Elements. Costs 1 to bring out, of course. Choose a color. White creatures you control gain protection from that chosen color until end of turn. Which is quite useful, and the fact that this only costs 1 mana to use makes it very useful in tight spots. And one reason to have like 4 of these for a deck is definitely useful, especially if you're trying to build like a super quick deck to bring out creatures quick and you're wanting a low cost deck like say 3 or less mana. That's a perfect one. Coming in first at number 10. No stranger to anybody who loves vampires. Vampire Hexmage. A superb classic vampire or vampirus. Costs 2 black mana to bring out, 2/1. Also has first strike. Sacrifice vampire Hexmage. Remove all creatures from target permanent. That is quite a useful little ability. Plus the artwork and everything else, so is great. First strike is also very useful. Coming at number 9. If you like elves, this should definitely be a card I recommend. This specific Druid Elf, it costs 3 to bring out, and it's a 1/1. That may not seem great, but what's great is its special ability. Tap, and you can use this as 2 forest lands. So literally, just tap and you can use this and basically use it as 2 green mana. That is quite a nice ability, especially for an elf deck. But anybody who's played elves for a long time, I'm sure knows about this card. If not, I do highly recommend getting a couple copies. The fact that you can use it as 2 mana is definitely very useful. Coming in at number 8 is one of my favorite early era goblins back when I played Goblin Standard. 2 mana to bring out Goblin Shortcutter. It's a 2/1. Also, when Goblin Shortcutter enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. That is a pretty nice little ability to have. I mean, the fact it only costs 2 to bring out, it at least has 2 attack. Only 1 defense, unfortunately, but still, but is great in a Goblin deck. And the fact that when you bring it out, you can also block an attack that turn, definitely very nice. Coming in at number 7, Another great white card, sorcery. Lambine Ritual costs 5 to use. You gain 2 life for each planes you control. That is definitely nice. So say you have, I don't know, just randomly say you have 6 planes on the field. Well, boom, that's instantly 12 life points. Quite nice. It's a good way to especially build up your life. Especially if you're trying to build a life gain deck, I do recommend minimal at least 1 copy of this card. It is very useful. Coming in next at number 6. Of course, I have to have at least 1 core creature on here. I mean, his original Zendikar. This one, pretty cool one actually. Costs 2 to bring out. It's a 2/2, plus has a kicker ability. Costs 2 to use the kicker. You may pay any additional kicker as you will. So say you end up spinning and end up kicking it twice, spin 4. When Aeronaut enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, target creature gains flying until end of turn. Definitely a nice little additional ability right there. Especially if your opponent doesn't have any flying creatures or reach. Coming in at number 5. An all-time classic. Punishing Fire. Costs 2 to use. Instant. Punishing Fire deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Whenever an opponent gains life, you may pay 1 mountain. If you do, return Punishing Fire from the graveyard to your hand. So yeah, then you can just keep reusing it over and over and over. That's the thing though, only when your opponent gains life, but then all you have to do is pay 1 and you can bring it straight back to your hand and then deal 2 more damage to your opponent or a creature they control. That is why I love Punishing Fire, because the fact you can just keep reusing the same card over and over and over and over again. Very good for a burn deck specifically though. But this is also a card I loved doing in my old Goblin deck as well. Coming in at number 4. One of my all-time favorite vampires. Gatekeeper. Costs 2 to bring out, costs 2, has also a kicker for 1 swamp. Whenever Gatekeeper enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, target player sacrifices a creature. So, if you say you kick it, say 3 times, which is only 3 swamps, that means then your opponent has to sacrifice 3 creatures if they have that many. It doesn't matter the strength or anything. That ability alone makes this vampire very overpowering for its ability. The kicker is what puts it over the edge, as I think one of the best vampires easily of the era. That one little kicker ability can destroy, and in fact it only costs 1 for each creature destroyed. Coming in at number 3. An all-time classic, one of the greatest cards to come from Worldwake. And if you love Artifact and blue decks, well, this is a great card to have. I would even argue this is good in things like a Merfolk deck. The fact it only costs 1 mana to bring out. This dear little crab. It's a 0/2, but it also has a landfall ability, which is what it really helps. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So yeah, the fact this costs 1 is at least 2 defense is good. And its landfall ability is what really, I think, has made this card a sought after uncommon. It is probably one of the most expensive uncommons I know of, especially arguably from this specific set, it is probably the most sought after uncommon. For the Landfall ability alone, it's great for a mill deck. And have 4 of these in your deck, ooh, you're talking some good damage to the fact they have to immediately get rid of 3 cards. Have 4 of these, have at least 2 at a time in the field. Each time somebody activates with a landfall, that is 6 cards they have to throw out to the graveyard. Quite useful. Coming in at number 2, one of the best sorceries to have in a vampire deck, in my opinion. Feast of Blood costs 2 to bring out, or rather cast Feast of Blood only if you control 2 or more vampires. That's the big key. However, destroy target creature. You gain 4 life. That is what is awesome about Feast of Blood. Gaining 4 life after destroying a creature. I consider this a must-have in any vampire deck. Coming in at number 1 is in my top 3 favorite vampire cards of all time. This is an all-time classic. Vampire Nighthawk. Costs 3 to bring out. It's a 2/3. Vampire Shaman. Has flying. Also has Death Touch. And has Lifelink. That is one of the reasons this is a kind of OP card. Flying is good, but the fact he also has both Death Touch and Lifelink, and the fact he only costs 3 mana to bring out, being a 2/3 is pretty good stats, I think, for 3 mana. And with its other abilities combined together, that makes it a very good 3 mana monster creature to bring out. But the artwork is also, in my opinion, super iconic now. But easily my favorite uncommon from original Zendikar. Leave a comment below and give me your thoughts. Music in the background is Blue Fields, the world map theme for Final Fantasy VIII. I'll see y'all again soon. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.